Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump, from the deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
I don't like taking no for an answer. I like doing things my way and going against the motherfreaking grain. We're here to win, baby. Testicles 1-2. Testicles. Welcome back to Paranormal Radio Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Wait up, I forgot my background. There she is. All right. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host, the host of this amazing adventure, and I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an amazing episode lined up for all of you guys, but first of all, remember, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. The most important thing that you could do for the show today and tomorrow is word of mouth. Tell your ugly cousin about it, your sexy cousin about it, your stepbrothers, your mom, your stepmom, your ugly grandtie, auntie. Tell the world about the universe that we're changing here, one episode at a time, challenging reality. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the best show with the best content for the best listeners. And check us out at paranormalradio.com. Check out the affiliations with Flavors of the Forest. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what's funny? The dude that we have on today, he's also an affiliate with Flavors of the Forest. What an amazing world this is. An amazing connection. Ladies and gentlemen, also, do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. It's a beautiful Sunday, a good little Sunday evening recording session. I'm going to take it easy because the headache is about banging the shit out of my brain. But we're here and we're striving for it to be the best. Guys, allow me to introduce my next special guest. Jumping in from the deep end of the pool and setting the fucking mood. Please give a warm welcome and a round of applause to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are podcast. Did I chop that up, bro? Tell me the truth, dog.
No, dog, you got it right. You got it right. You did good. You did good. For somebody who has a fucking killer headache, man, you're doing amazing.
I'm having the sweats right now, bro. Yo, before anything, you are rocking it on Instagram, dropping bombs of knowledge on your show. You are connected with the Flavors of the Forest. It's only bound that we cross paths, bro. Tell the world where you're from, where you're at, what do you do, and where they can find your show.
All right, man. So I hail from the great state of Maine. I know technically in the political sphere, Maine has not been seen in a good light. Our governor is not fantastic. But other than that, the podcast is Where the Weird Ones Are. You can find that on any podcast platform. I'm also on YouTube and Rumble, which actually I need to get back on Rumble. I've kind of like laxed it. I had one episode so far that YouTube's like, no, fuck that shit. And Rumble was like, we accept that stuff. So far everything it has been great in that sphere, but yeah, so the podcast is paranormal and cryptid based. We do talk about mental health. Mental health is super important when you talk about this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Conspiracies are my thing. I do I specifically I try to do once a month, but it's at least every other month where I do an episode geared specifically for conspiracies, which I've dubbed Conspiracy Tuesday. So those episodes drop on Tuesdays, and I usually get a couple people on it at the same time for that shit. And other than that, God has blessed me with the gift to gab, and for a long time I've been somebody who's been technically introverted. So when I decided to start the podcast, it was really hard for me to get going at first. But the more people, the community, first of all, is amazing, dude. Like it is super great, and there's so many nice people out there, and they've helped me, and it has, created me to just, I can't shut up sometimes, and yeah, man. So that's the kit and caboodle of the show.
I love it. That's good. I like that. You're putting your efforts and your skills out to good use, bro. And this is a
Thanks,
moment
man.
to be doing it. This is a moment to really put that information out, to put your skill set to work, to iron, sharpening iron. It's the moment, bro, because there's never been more of a wake up call and more of a thirst for truth and our information like this. We are the mainstream media, believe it or not. Maybe not here at Paranoid Radio Podcast just yet. And I say yet with a very, very intent to be mainstream very soon. But guys, excuse me, we are mainstream. I don't remember the last time I've seen Tate and and other conservative podcasters, influencers on mainstream media news that much. There's more information being pumped out, and this is not a political podcast, guys. This is not a political show, but I'll tell you this much: there's more information out right now attacking Elon Musk, Trump, conservatism, right-handed wings, values and morals, and kids even now than promoting the next freaking Snow White movie because it freaking tanked. So believe it or not,
It
there's
did
more
tank.
people. Yeah, it did. There's more people out here talking about Bigfoot and interdimensional beings than how to dye your purple blue hair and chop off your dick. It does, I mean, it's just a fact, bro. You know. And I'm glad that we're finally on the winning side. And I'm glad that you're here. Thank you again for sharing this moment with us and sharing some information and your show. So make sure you check him out, ladies and gentlemen. Do you do the show with anybody else? Because I kind of saw that you were sharing the mic with somebody. Well, it's
No,
just
I
you.
do it. I do it by myself. Yeah, it's just
Oh,
me. It's yeah, I get a different guest every week, and I did share it with my sister a long time ago, almost 2 years ago. My sister was probably was a co-host for probably about like 10 episodes, but that was about it.
mm. The hardest part for me is getting the digital content out in a format that people like jumping in because I'm a very basic
Mm,
cut and paste type of dude. I don't like doing the all the digital stuff. I am creative, but I'm not a whiz kid with the apps. So this is why I still use Zoom. And it's kind of annoying, bro, how people are like, yeah, bro, you gotta use this and like four different things. And I'm like, dude, I don't got time for that, bro. I wake up at 3 in the morning, bro, to go to work. I'm here at 3 o'clock back at home and I'm recording. I'm spending time behind the mic instead of, so eventually you're gonna
yeah.
have to start learning how to do the digital stuff. But hey, man, you're doing a great job, bro. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Riverside helps me a lot because they have an AI generator for clips, so
Hmm.
they'll pump out clips for me, and I'll just choose which clip I like the most and
Hmm.
make that as a clip and post it on the social medias and all that shit. So
Hmm.
that's one th and StreamYard does that too, but StreamYard you have to pay for it in order
Hmm.
for it to do that. But Riverside will do it for free.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I completely X'd out Riverside when Anchor.fm became Spotify for podcasters, and now it's
Yeah.
creators for pod. I don't know what it's called now. And they used Riverside because I'm a mobile guy, bro. I do 90% of everything on this fucking phone right here.
Same.
Everything from like everything. You're posting the stitching and everything. So when Anchor took off the mobile friendly part of it, I was like, oh crap. So now I'm using other apps that I had to find how to use. But hey, man. Um,
Dude, I have to say, a lot of your clips and stuff that you post have been fantastic too. Like and Janet from Deplorable Nation, man,
Mad shout outs.
she's spoken highly of you a couple times that I've spoken to her because she's been on my show at
Mhm.
least two or three times now.
Mhm.
And she's told me about you way back before Flavors of the Forest got in contact with you, and then I found out that we're now both sponsored by the same people.
Hell yeah.
Which shout out to Flavors of the Forest, amazing people, Nelson and Matt, dude,
Oh
dope.
yeah.
I met Nelson in North Carolina at a Bigfoot convention,
Mm.
and I make my own hot sauce. So he's like, you want to trade? And I was like, yeah. So I gave him some hot sauce. He gave me some of the garlic, dude, and it's been on ever since. The
Bro, garlic
garlic
on
is
that
amazing.
freaks. Dude, I like the spicy one, bro. That's what guys. I'm not trying to only promote here Flavors of the Forest, but the fucking garlic dust, bro, keeps the vampires away, and that's not exaggerating, guys. It's bomb.
Absolutely.
Oh shit, that's good, bro. I didn't know you created your own sauce, bro. I'm gonna have to get my hands on that stuff, bro. Try it
Yeah,
out.
no. Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, right. So we give a nice introduction on the show, bro. We need to know what the hell you've been up to, bro. What was the most recent conversation you had? You said something in the beginning that really captured me. Mental health. Let's start there.
All right. All right. So in the beginning of my life wasn't great. It not necessarily terrible, but not like picture perfect either. So There's a lot of abuse growing up. There's good days, there's bad days. My mom wasn't great, but she wasn't g- uh extremely terrible. But when my parents split probably about when I was around 7 years old.
Same.
And and there was something about it that because I look a lot like my dad, and my mom just seemed to fucking hate me after they split. It was just like it was like a complete like 180 like kind of thing. She still treated me good. She still like I still got clothes. I still had a roof over my head. I still had food in my belly, but I also got slapped over the littlest thing. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm. Yeah.
So my sister ended up having this real issue with me being compared with my dad, and she still does. She still has this issue. Um, and I can see it now, especially doing therapy for a while now. So, um, at 9 years old, I did try and take my own life. Fortunately, I did not succeed. Um, and then shortly after that, I had an experience with an apparition that just told me that I needed to be patient. And I'm like, well, and so my whole life has been like, what do I have to be patient about? And like as a 9 year old, I'm like, do I have to be patient so that like I can get a dessert after fucking dinner or something? Do I have to be patient so I can get like this penny candy when I'm at the store? Like, do I have to be patient in order to get praises from my mother? Um, my mother has never really spoken good about me, um, in her circles. So that has weighed on me like my entire life. And I've always felt like an outcast because so my older brother, he was the firstborn son to my mother. He wasn't my dad's son, but he was my mother's firstborn. And my mom was 16 when she had him. So my grandparents kind of looked at him as a son, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he grew up in their house. And so
Hmm.
like he got like everything. He couldn't do any wrong. And then my sister came along. She's the first girl, the only girl. So
Uh-oh.
she was the princess. I was between both my older brother and my sister.
Mhm.
And then my younger brother was born, and obviously the baby. The baby can't do any wrong. The firstborn can't do any wrong because he's like a son to everybody. And
Oh yeah.
then the youngest is the baby. He can't do any wrong.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the girl is the princess. And then what the fuck am I? You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I got fucking a lot of shit. Not saying that it was like I also don't get me wrong, I was also a piece of shit as a kid.
Yeah.
Like there was
Yeah.
I did
But you're a
shit.
kid. You're gonna get what you received. I mean, you don't know any better. I hear you,
Right.
bro. Hmm.
Right. So I like to say I wasn't disciplined, but I was um I fucking what's the word that I fucking usually use? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on how I usually say this. So I
And I'm the
wasn't
one with the headache.
you're right.
Fuck.
I wasn't disciplined. I was reprimanded.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh, that's the
like
word.
yeah, so like
Hmm.
when anything like if I did something wrong, nothing was explained to me. I was instant like beaten, like I get a hit across the head or fucking and punished immediately. Nothing's like, hey man, this is what you did wrong. You should
Hmm.
like I get the strong response to it, but I also get the soft response to it. There should be an even balance of both. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
So I didn't get any balance. I didn't get any of the soft parenting, which soft parenting on its own isn't great either.
No.
So you're either gonna get walked on as a parent with soft parenting, but if you're too
Mm.
strong,
Mm.
and you're gonna get, the childhood trauma shit. So throughout my entire childhood, I I've had these paranormal experiences and I think that I'm crazy and I can't talk to my mom about it. My mom thinks I'm crazy. So,
So
uh,
you've always been kind of like the black sheep.
yes, yeah. Yeah, and I seem to be the more now in my 30s, I seem to be like the more str like not to like well, I'm sorry, I should do better about talking about myself, but I do think that I am the stronger personality out of the four of us, out of actually
Mhm.
all of my siblings, because my dad went on to have more kids
Mhm. Mhm.
after he left. So
Your dad
I
was on a mission.
he was. I am the second oldest of 11 children.
Holy snap.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Yeah,
that
dog.
paints a picture.
Yeah. So 13, I tried to take my life for a second time. That time I used pills, and we were living with my aunt, and I just took a bunch of stuff out of her medicine cabinet,
Hmm.
not realizing that one of them was a stool softener, so it kind of softened the blow because I was, things were removing from me as
As
they
they were
were
going in. Hmm.
exactly. So the only thing that really happened with me was I spent some time in the hospital
Hmm.
with that, and my mother never really knew. I actually don't even really think she knows unless my sister has told her because my sister knows. My
Hmm.
sister and I have been pretty tight. I mean, we fought a lot when we were kids and stuff like that because we were so close in age, but my sister knows everything about me. She's probably the only person that knows the most about me, and that's the closest to me, you know. And she had some of these experiences with me, watched a lot of these things happen to me, and I watched a lot of things happen to her. Because my mom didn't, after my dad left, my mom didn't treat her fantastically either. And then once my stepfather came into the picture, some things was going on with my sister that I'm not going to talk about because that's her story. But
Hmm.
I will say that it was probably about a year and a half after I tried to take my own life at my aunt's house with the medicine cabinet, that things came to light with what was going on with my sister. And I showed up. We weren't supposed to be at my mom's house anymore. And I showed up with a bag full of knives. I was like, I had my school backpack and I had a bunch of knives inside of it. And
Hmm.
I just came to the door and my mom opened the door and she's like, you're not supposed to be here. And to me, it was really fucking weird for my mom to say that to me because my mom always made it like emphasize the fact that we needed to be with her. So to hear her tell me that I wasn't allowed inside was
Uh-oh.
really fucked up to me. You know what I mean? It was almost like
Yeah.
she's taking this dude's side. Because if she let me inside, he would have died that night.
And this is your stepdad at the point, or not your father, right? Your stepdad.
Yeah, my stepdad. Yeah.
Hmm.
So he would
I went
have,
I went to jail for something like that for my little sister.
yeah,
I went
yeah,
to jail for the same thing almost. I could almost
yeah,
picture what happened, and yeah, I hear you, bro.
yeah. Yeah, I would have it would have been it wouldn't have been good. And if my mom tried to stop me, she might have gotten it too, you know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah, at the
Like,
moment of anger, in a moment of anger, you stop thinking, everything gets blinded, and you're all emotion. You're no
yeah.
rationality. You're not thinking straight, and you have like a mission where nothing's gonna stop you, and whatever stops you is getting it too. So I know, bro. It's like a blinding thing. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
How old am I now?
Yeah,
I'm currently 36.
36 years old. You're 2 years older than I am. And it's funny when you started talking, and I'm just gonna amplify this. I'm gonna let you continue your story, but uh, I was the only child of my mother as well, and the same thing, bro. As soon as my mom and my dad split up, my mom hated my guts, bro. Hated my guts, dude. It got to a point, bro. She couldn't beat me in the legs anymore because child services were called by the school, so she couldn't
Hmm.
beat me in the legs no more. The day that they found out that she was still beating me, they called her in. They gave her a threat. They told her that I can't come to school until I'm whole healed, and they're gonna start opening investigation, whatever. And my feet. So she would take off my socks, bro. She would throw me and then hit me in the bottom of my foot with the belt. So the bottom of my foot would be freaking fat. I couldn't walk. I would have to like walk my feet like this because
Oh,
my feet were swollen. And then she would make me
yeah.
kneel on rice for 30 to an hour to just kneel on rice because there was nothing else that she could beat my ass with. The only turnaround good thing that she did towards my like in my childhood, that really helped me, benefited me, or I think it benefited me, was that she never took me to get my shots. Never in my fucking shots. I got one shot in my little fucking book that I still have because I'm adopted, by the way. After they found out and everything, it took me away. So a Mexican family adopted me at 12. But like my little book, when they saw my book, like, what the fuck? You have nothing. Like, yeah, I don't know, shit. But I hear you, bro. Almost about the same, the same thing. It's like if I don't know. I think they had some trauma too. That's generational.
Oh,
That
absolutely. Yeah. My mom used to tell
continue
me
on.
my mom used to tell me stories about her grandparents, my great grandparents. Her grandfather used to, like, if something happened, he'd be like, "Go get me a Twitch," and she would like justify her actions by the things that she went through, which didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, so you went through this shit and you're gonna put me through this? Like, that doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense. Like, the trauma that it caused you, and you're still gonna do this to me. So yeah, like, if my mom let me, because I couldn't get, she wouldn't let me in.
Mhm.
And that night that I went to the house after the shit happened with my sister
I
and
think she
everything
knew.
came to light,
She kind of
she
probably felt
she
it. Yeah.
she probably did, and she wouldn't let me in. So I didn't really fight her because I didn't want to make it obvious. So I
Mhm.
just left. And
Mhm.
luckily, she kind of like saw the light and, divorced him. And my sister never pressed charges against him and stuff. And he went on to fucking get married and have another kid and stuff. And it's a mess. So, fast forward to probably 2020. Not only is the fucking thing that won't go fucking away was happening, and my girlfriend at the time, she was on the same like wavelength as me, like conspiratorially wise. Neither one of us wanted to get fucking jib jabbed, and neither one of us believed in 100% what was going on and stuff. But
Mhm.
she was also not very good for my mental health either. She was manipulative, gaslighting. Not saying that I was great either, but
Mhm. Mhm.
it all came to a head when I was probably 32 and I moved out of her house and I ended up back at my fucking mother's house in her basement with my kids, my two kids that were um 11 and 10 at the time.
Oh God.
And it was hell. And my mom picked a fight with me over leaving the door open. It was like 70 degrees outside and her heat was on. And she yelled at me for leaving the door open because the heat was on. And I was like, well, it's nice outside. She's like, that's besides the point. I was like, does shut the heat off. And then she got really derogatory towards me in front of my kids. And that's when, like, I had grown up with these kind of reactions out of her.
Word.
So
Uh-huh.
I was like, dude, I was like, I looked at her and I was like, there's no reason for you to be gross and shit. I was like, if you have something that you don't like me doing, just talk to me. I was like, you don't have to yell. You don't have to say a bunch of mean shit, because she was like talking shit about my dad all of a sudden. And I'm like, where the fuck I'm 30 years old. I'm in my
Mhm.
30s. What are you talking about?
Word.
So it just it all that happening, my like living with my mom, the breakup, I sat there one night with my gun in my lap and I was just like, dude, what's the point? What is the point of this? I'm 32 years old. I have nothing to show for my life. I that is a thought that was in my head. Literally, the thing that I have to show for my life is my children. My children are the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I can't
Mhm.
emphasize that enough. They're the reason why that I live and breathe. They're the vein of my existence. I would do anything for them, and I would stop at nothing to protect them.
Mhm.
And in saying that, like, it took my ex-wife to talk me off the ledge because I ended up texting her. I knew that I needed help, and something in my head was like, text her. So I did. And I do think that there is a piece of divine intervention there with that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but years later, like, so this past year, my son all of a sudden started quoting scripture and shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Whoa. Major.
he even made he's 16. He created a TikTok that that he posts videos about scripture and God all the time. My daughter asked for a Bible for Christmas instead of a tablet. And I do think that he is trying to speak to me through my children because my children are so important to me, and he knows that, you know.
Whoa. What a turnaround of events, dude.
Yeah.
That's massive. That is massive.
So
Hits you
I'm
where
great.
it hurts.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my kids, and I think that the reason that I have my kids is to experience this. And I talk about this a lot, and I don't usually. I do get emotional sometimes, and I apologize if I end up cracking, but my kids literally are the best thing the best thing that I have to show for my life.
Wow. Don't feel bad, bro. This is what we podcast for, bro. Thank you for being so vulnerable and just opening up and telling me your entire story. I cherish it. I cherish it, and I can guarantee you 100%, bro, that there's somebody listening to this right now, and they're gonna be shocked to know that there's more people like us, more people like them, somebody to connect with, somebody all the way in Maine to connect with. Believe it or not, bro,
Uh,
you're doing an outstanding job. I'm thanking God that he's talking to you. I'm thinking, and you know what's funny, bro? God talks to people, bro. He talks to people. When you get to a level, and you set spectrum and mental clarity, when you get to a level of understanding your life, your position, and you hit rock bottom, and you're like, I've tried smoking. I've tried hiding. I've tried sex. I've tried fucking drugs. I've tried drinking. I've tried partying. I've tried this. I've tried that. I've tried hiding. I've tried being in the dark. I've tried being in the light. But you've never tried a little Jesus Christ. You're like, whoa, why not? I already fucking
right.
tried everything else. It's not working, right? Let me try it. Let me see how. How do I come at you, God? How do I open this up? And sometimes when you ask those questions, you're still stuck. So then God presents himself to you in a way that you cannot refuse. Your children. For example, you. It came with me, it came through realization of my loneliness. So same thing. My loneliness. I spent some time alone, and I'm not gonna go into detail, but I was like, oh my God. 34 years old, same thing, nothing to show for. Everybody's backstabbing me. The show's not moving. I'm not moving financially. My oldest hates me. My 2 year old, I'm traumatizing her too. All right, I'm gonna stop drinking. If I tried everything else, but except being sober, I'm gonna try being sober. And God gave me that first thing. That was the first step, being sober. Holy crap. 3 months later, I was like, fuck, I'm fucking dashing through the problems. No obstacle stopping me. 3 months more. Oh fuck. Now I'm not even, and I don't even want meth anymore. I just started 4 months ago, I stopped drinking. I was like, holy shit. And I'm talking about my drinking wasn't like drinking every weekend. Fuck no, bro. I was drinking at least 3 tall cans after work every day, and that'll lead to fucking vodka. And then that'll lead to a hangover next day at work. And then to take it off, I'll go pick something up for lunch too, and then just down it at lunch. So I was constantly drinking heavily, bro. I had bags under my
Mhm.
eyes. My skin was dry. Everything was coming down. The situation with my wife was getting worse. So, believe it or not, I think God has a plan for you, but He hit you where it hurts the most, bro, and He's
I
changed you.
I believe it. I believe it too. Like, and it really started with the start of the podcast. You know, I started listening to conspiracy podcasts and stuff, and then through the conspiracy podcasts, I ended up on paranormal podcasts, and I was like, you know what? I want to talk about people. I want to talk to people about their experiences. And my a friend of mine, he had his own podcast, which he doesn't do anymore, unfortunately, because he's a wealth of knowledge in a lot of different fields with history, conspiracies, and stuff like that, which he's the one that really turned me on to conspiracies. And so him and I had these conversations and stuff, and I told him, I was like, I think I want to do a podcast. He's like, what about? And I was like, I think I want to talk to people about their personal paranormal experiences, like whether it's ghosts, fucking cryptids, aliens, and shit like that. I was like, I also want to touch on mental health. Obviously, like what I just told you, that's the reason why I love getting into people's mental health issues. When we have there's so many aspects that go into like these paranormal experiences, whether you're coming from a trauma based or just the experience alone is causes you trauma, and then not wanting to tell people because you think that they're going to look at you differently. Like that causes trauma because of the way that you think people are going to look at you. And conspiracies. So that's when it was really born. And like I said, I was introverted as hell. I had a hard time talking to people, but it really, once the show got rolling, the better I got at it and the more I welcome the conversation. And the more people that I talk to like you, the people that are religious or have a Christian base or whatever, the more I'm just like, like I've become really close with Drewski, and I know you were recently on his show.
Fuck yeah, Drewski's amazing, bro. He's
He
badass.
is.
Shout out to Drewski from Cryptid Warfare podcast.
He is. He's become an amazing friend. I've got the chance to hang out with him once, and we hung out the whole weekend, and it was like I was reconnecting with a high school friend, somebody that I've been friends with since childhood, and it just literally felt like a buddy's weekend, and we weren't like sitting there doing things for a convention and shit like that. So I'm grateful for his friendship and the talks that him and I have about God. And he was the first, literally the first person that I told when my daughter was like, I think I would rather a Bible over a tablet for Christmas. I was like, dude, you'll never guess what my daughter wants for Christmas. And he's like, dude. So he's gonna send me some Bibles here soon. I don't know if he sent them out yet or something. But yeah, my kids have turned me on to my I'm grateful the way that my kids have turned out with, and I don't want them to experience the things that I have. My dad wasn't a great dad, but he wasn't a bad dad. He just was complacent, if or he didn't consider me or us, I should say, in a whole. Like, so him is me, my sister, and my little brother that were his kids when before he left my mother. And it was like once he got into a new relationship, it was almost like we didn't exist, but we did
Mm.
exist. Like he cared about us, but he didn't care about us, if that
Word,
makes
I
any
know.
kind of sense. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Mm.
So, he never beat me. I can say that. He never fucking hit me until I was in high school. And that was because he thought I was growing marijuana in his basement. That was the only time that he got
Were
violent with
you
me.
were you freaking growing MJ, bro?
I was trying. I wasn't actually growing. I tried though. So
Fucking oh god.
yeah. And I raised my fist at him. And I was 16. I raised my fist at him.
Uh-oh.
He's like, "You're gonna
Uh-oh.
raise your fist at me?" And I would put my hand down. I was like, because I felt like, because my dad's a little bit smaller than I am, which is really
Mm.
weird because both my parents are
Mm.
smaller than me. And I was like, do I really want to find out that I'm tougher than my dad right now? Like, I don't want to do that. So I put my hand down and then he punched me and I was just like, oh, whatever, I'll take it. You know what I mean? That was the only time my dad has ever been aggressive or violent towards me, was
Yeah.
that one time. Because I was trying to stand up to him and I mean I don't know if I would have done the same thing with my kids, if my role was in his position, but
Mm.
you know, um, I do think, like you said, man, I do think that God has a plan for all of us, and it's only the right time when we start realizing it.
Mm. I like this conversation, bro, because it's not always about cryptids and not always about conspiracies, guys. It's about the enlightening part in finding yourself. This is saying, "Oh, I can't. What is it? Can't find myself. I can't find myself." No, you gotta stop trying to find yourself. You're gonna create yourself, guys. Because if you go back to saying, "I'm gonna find myself," you're implying that you gotta find out where you come from, where your roots are, what kind of people you come from, your bloodline, last name, and everything else. But you are bringing on forth those demons upon you. You are bringing on the ugly fruits of that ugly labor. For example, um, your mom probably had some trauma that her mom probably did to her or her dad did to her, and then she came and she did it onto you with nonstop, and then you came and you received it all, and now you have kids, and it takes a lot of balls, maturity, and a little Jesus, so you could stop yourself from creating those traumas on your kids. Your kids are born with that situation in their bodies, in their minds. It's a that's what's called generational curses, generational trauma, because what happens before you carry it. And sometimes people don't see it. So
Mm.
enlightening enough, you have to recreate yourself, bro. That's why the Bible says you have to be reborn. You have to be recreated. Even the freaking Templars, even the Illuminati, even the freaking Freemasons know that in order to stay relevant and be important in society and still be influential, you have to recreate yourself into a degree. You have this
Absolutely.
recreation of the entertainment industry. And I'm just gonna give you a quick example. Every single artist, hip hop artist, rapper, rock artist that you know, either they recreate themselves at the age of 27 and 33, or they die off. They fall off the wagon. They get put away or get taken out anyway, some shape or form, and that it is what it is. I've done plenty of shows on this stuff, guys, and I'm just bringing back that memory. So even that, like, if and that's that's duality. You have to recreate yourself and stay ahead of the curve, stay ahead of the pain, ahead of the trauma and the emotional distress. Have a little bit more of an emotional intelligence in your body and your brain, and the only way that you could do that is seek out the Bible. I look at the Bible, bro, not searching for God. I look at the Bible searching for conspiracy theories because that's what I love, and then God reveals Himself.
Uh,
Funny shit, the Bible is probably the oldest conspiracy and most accurate conspiracy book of all time, dog. I'm like, what? Bro, the betrayal, the vampires, the spies, the everything, the kingdoms, the wars, the women, the sex, everything's in it. What do you want to go anywhere else for? It's already been told. So it's very interesting, bro. It's awesome, dude.
yeah, I love it. I want to read. I keep saying this every time I talk about God and stuff. I was like, I really need to read the Bible, but I do know that one thing that people love to use against the Bible is the fact that it brings up unicorns. So people that I've had a few like pastors on and stuff like that on my show, and I asked one of them. I might have asked both of them. Um, about the unicorn thing, but what I through my research, I found out that, in the old days of the dictionary, unicorn just meant rhino, which
Hmm.
makes sense for the area that the Bible takes place in. A rhino is a one-horned animal.
It
So
is a unicorn. A
exactly.
unicorn. Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. So,
Mhm.
it wasn't until the 80s, I believe, that or maybe actually it might have been a little bit later than that. I think the Webster dictionary changed a lot of their definitions. It might have been late 60s when the unicorn was changed to a mythical being of a mythical creature, horse-like creature or something like that, whatever the definition is now
I
for
believe you. I believe you. 1940s, they eliminated the word firmament.
Yep.
I
Yep,
think it was
that too.
it was either that or they changed it to the definition of something else. Trip out.
Yeah,
Mm.
1947, dude, was the pinnacle of our existence. With the things that used to be to what we know now. 1947 was at that whole entire year there's a lot of shit, and I want to do research that I do believe Drew knows somebody that has done a lot of research on the year, but a lot of the conspiracies, there's always something that has to do with that year.
I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, the checkpoint save game. So I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a glober. I'm a simulator guy. I'm a simulation guy.
Yep.
And where I fall is in, we have this line where we exist, where every single time there's a breakthrough in humanity, there's a checkpoint save game reset button. So we've hit one of those. It's biblical, it's historical, and we've gone to a point where each time that we reveal something huge, like the splitting of the atom, right, the atomic bomb, and it gets to that point, we checkpoint save game, and now we've ventured into a new reality, higher level, with a new boss that we have to defeat, and new obstacles, right, and a new caliber of vibration that we're going to be vibrating on. So at the end of the day, I'm like, it makes more sense for me to think that the world, it is what you want it to be. The world is what you want it to be, and every brain. I don't know if you need any Spanish, but in Spanish it's saying that cada cabeza es un mundo, which means every brain, every head, it's its own world. But the word that in context, the way it's used in Spanish is not every head is its own world. It's every head is its own universe, which means it gives it even a wider spectrum of what it could be, right? So it's everything in one. It's past, present, and future in one. So, I think in 1947, that was one of the biggest breakthroughs in humanity. Maybe the microwave, the splitting of the atom bomb, the atom, and then digital content. Right? You have the television, you have color TVs, you have the more powerful submarines, and new methods of killing, new
Mm,
weapons, etc. So I think it was like a checkpoint save game for all of us, for humanity, like you said, like a big pinnacle. Um,
absolutely. You would think that I would know a little bit more Spanish for my love of Spanish women, but it is what it is.
Oh, smack, bro. Like, Spanish women are the crazy ones, bro.
That's okay.
I I like all types of women, all types of foods and stuff. But if I have to go back or to anything, bro, I'll probably go back to tacos, tamales, and pupusas, bro. I swear to God, they're the best, bro.
Yeah.
Latin food is the shit, man.
Saying, yeah, I love Latin food, which which created my fucking love for spicy food. Like that's why I make hot sauces because of my love for the spices that Spanish food comes from. I mean
Yeah.
that creates.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, from what you're saying, like 1947, dude. It would and then all of the 50s, we have like, so 1941 we have the crash of Roswell, and that the supposed alliance for the was it Truman? Was it Truman, or
Hmm.
was it was Truman, right? That supposedly created this galactic alliance with these otherworldly beings, and that's
Hmm.
they were like, he was like, give us this new technology, and you can have like X amount of people every year to do whatever the fuck you want to do your weird
Hmm.
shit with. And now we got people with missing time, people like Karen Wilkinson that's been fucking abducted, people like um Olivia James and Tony Rodriguez that have been abducted into these 20-year back programs where they live 20 years serving this entity on other planets, and then they get put back into their 10-year-old fucking body with their mind erased. And it's not until they're 40 that they're like, I have this trauma and I don't know where it's coming
The
from.
Oz factor. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And then they do a regression or they do therapy or something, and all these memories start flooding back, and they're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Hmm.
Excuse my French, but um
Hmm.
they're like, and then they have these wild memories. And um uh, you know, I'm not dispelling any of it, but it's really interesting. The older that we get, the more things that the weird things that we recall from our past. You know what I mean? Like all my life, it was never like, it never really mattered to me like that. I tried to take my own life, but the more that I think about it now that I'm older, um, and thinking of things that happened around it, like right after when I was 9, when right after I tried for the first time, I'm in the hospital. I'm all bandaged up. My mom seems to think that I fell out of a tree, which, because that's what I told her. And I don't know if she ever has known any different. Her and I don't talk anymore, and I wonder if it's because of the things that she heard me talk about her on my podcast, which is doesn't bother me. I'm just speaking my like what I experienced. So
Hmm.
if she's upset about it, it's her her own thing. But
Hmm.
regardless, so like right after I tried to take my own life, my doctor ended up showing up in the ER, right? And he's not an ER doctor. He's a pediatric doctor. And he holds me by my wrist. So my hand is out like this. And he's has this hand, like my hand inside of his palm and my wrist, because I'm a kid, it's small.
Hmm.
And he looks me right in the eyes, and he looks down at it and he goes, "This came from a tree?" And I go, "Yeah, I fell out of a tree." He's like, "Can you do me a favor?" And he like literally, I felt like he was staring into my soul that night. And he's like, "Can you stay out of this tree?" And like in that moment, I was just like, "Yeah, okay, weirdo." But at this, like the more that I reflect on it, I think he knew. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah, he knew.
100%. I'm like 100% sure that he knew.
Yeah.
And the more thing that solidifies it is that he ended up taking his own life when I was in high school. Yeah.
He couldn't stay away from that tree.
Yeah, he couldn't stay away from the tree.
Fucking guy, dude.
I
Maybe
mean,
he's just
I'm glad that I'm glad that I had him, but at the same time, I like I feel like if I had any other doctor, it would have been a different story, and maybe I would have tried again a lot sooner, and maybe it would have been more of a permanent solution. Um, but like when I first cut into myself, I felt that pain, and I was like, I don't know if I want to feel it. You know what I mean? Like like I welcomed it, but at the same time, I deflected it. Like I didn't want it, but I wanted it. And when he said that, it was I was just like, man, again, like in the moment, I was just like, whatever. But like right after, I was just like, I think he can see me, and it's the first time that I felt like somebody was actually looking at me. You know what I mean? Does that make
holy
sense?
crap. Yeah. Yeah. He understood you. Well, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he understood you.
Yeah. So I tried to be there. I wanted to be there for his son when he took his own life. And unfortunately, I couldn't because like a year after he did, his son did the same thing.
Oh
And
God, dude.
so when I talk about this stuff on my show, I you know, when you're feeling these feelings, like you don't know the hole you're leaving behind. You're just transferring trauma. So when he did what he did, his trauma transferred to his son, and now his son was deprived of his life. And that's why I emphasize so hard on mental health. Because I think mental health is, we have to make sure that our mental health is taken care of before anything else. You have to love yourself because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else.
I I'm actually trying to put up some notes here. Emotional damage. Um, this is funny because I did an episode on mental health called Emotional Damage with my best friend. One of the last few episodes. It went viral. One of the
Mm,
best grossing episodes that we did. And we brought some stuff, some notes out. And the top killer in men under 50 is suicide. 60% of all men above the age. Listen to this. 60%, and I'm reading this off my notes because I off an old episode that I had prepared. 60% of all men above the age of 15 are fathers in the US alone, just the US. 79% of those fathers are committing or thinking of committing suicide in today's age. Think about what I just said, bro. That's almost everybody.
hmm
That is almost every person that you see and you work with and collaborate with and you speak with every single time, every single person that you engage with. I work in an environment mostly with men, and I can tell you right now that out of the 15 men I work with, at least 10 of those guys have thought or are trying to commit suicide. Think about that freaking magnitude, bro, including myself. Think about the
Mm.
magnitude of what I think I'm telling you. And men don't care. You are worth what you bring to the table. A dog gets more love than you do. You don't get unconditional love. You don't get unconditional love from a wife, from your mothers, or from your fathers. The only unconditional love that you can find to actually do to yourself is yourself. Just like you said, you're the only person that's gonna come be able to save yourself. It's interesting, bro. It's interesting because your kids probably could love you, but they're gonna leave. They're gonna get married. They're gonna leave. right? Find
Absolutely.
their own spouse and stuff. So you're on by yourself. Women, women live in their emotions. We don't. I have a fucking headache right now. What the fuck are we doing? We're podcasting, and now
Or
we're
podcast.
see what I'm saying? Because I want this. My pain is not gonna give me what I want. It's not gonna give me the success I'm trying to strive for. It's not gonna make a name for me. See what I'm saying, right? And
Right.
and tomorrow in the morning, at 2 in the morning when I wake up, fucking put those boots on. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna go to work with a headache or not because no one's gonna pay my rent for me. See what I'm saying?
Same. Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
I
bro.
do. I literally get up at the same time as you. I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, whether I'm sick or not, whether I'm feeling okay with myself or not,
Yeah.
whether I think that fucking whether the weather is cooperating or not, I'm still getting in that car and going to work. I almost went off the road the other day because the fucking road was icy, and I'm still fucking driving to work.
And then you still went to
Um,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like fucking on the freaking breakdown lanes hat sideways, and I'm like, I gotta correct this fucking car, and so I correct it, and then I continue going. I was like, wow, that was crazy, but here we
Do-do-do.
go.
When my kids and my wife wake up, I have something to tell them. Oh, hey, guess what happened today? I almost died, dude. Like, fuck.
And they're like, yeah, they're like, oh shit, that sucks. Okay, well, this Play-Doh, I like this Play-Doh. Did you see my picture that I painted? Did you see the picture that
Yeah.
I colored?
Yeah,
So,
bro. I
I
see.
mean,
Yeah, nobody cares about us,
yeah,
man. That's a fucking sad world.
yeah, yeah. It's like you referenced the unconditional love. Like Chris Rock has a
Hmm.
segment in his
Hmm.
one of his latest. I don't know if it's his latest, but like a couple of years ago, only women, children, and dogs get
Hmm.
unconditional love. Men are only loved under the condition that they provide something.
That's what
So,
society is about. And you know what's
and
funny? They built that up. Society built that up and then try to infiltrate it by womanizing our men, feminizing our kids, confusing our children, taking
mhm.
over their minds, habits, and controlling their freaking the things that they consume on a daily basis. This is why I do content so that other people can use this to consume righteous stuff or at least more manlier stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, I took more than 40 minutes from you because you had an amazing testimony, bro. Your testimony, this is a testimony because you're still here. By any by any chance and any thoughts, if anything comes in your heart or arises again, bro, where you're like, I gotta talk to someone, you could bet your ass, bro, you have an open door policy here. Call me, text me, I'm gonna send you my number. At any given moment, bro, you have someone to talk to. You have. I'm all the way in California, and I'll answer that phone, bro. I'll make sure you don't drink. I'll make sure that you have a fucking mic behind in front of you to fucking let that shit out. Because this is what we need. The
Mm,
brotherhood. This is what all men need so that we can stay
absolutely.
sane. So I really thank you for the time and for the testimony you came on today. We were supposed to get into some cryptids, but we got into your life, and that's even better. I cherish it, bro.
Thank you.
I'm glad I didn't freaking call off, and I'm glad I'm here listening to this stuff because I saw myself in the mirror today, and I'm glad that we're here and that we're both alive and we both got kids and we're thriving, and that you're okay, bro. That you're feeling better. That's all that matters, bro. Looking inside and loving yourself, bro. Let the world know where they can find you.
The world can find me at where underscore the weird ones are on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, either my name, Kevin Sapiel Jr., or the podcast page where the weird ones are. YouTube, all the podcatchers. I do a live morning show every morning called Weird Java in the Morning. It's also on my where the weird ones are page on YouTube. And I'm just grateful to have the time with you and to share this space. And I appreciate you for allowing me into your life. It means a lot to me. The words that not only that you've said, but accepting me and allowing me into your space, man. These conversations are good to have, and I think it's very important, especially for men of our generation. I feel like we're losing to feminism. Not saying that like it's cool, empowerment to women and everything and stuff like that. I'm
100%.
I'm 100% behind, but there's also a lot of things that are coming out of it, like you said. feminizing our boys and shit like that. So I think that's it. Like other than that, there's the website where the weird ones are podcast.com. You can also get merch like fucking my hat, the t-shirt that's behind me. I have a whole bunch of designs out there. I have hot sauce on there. I have coffee and supplements. Right now it's only protein, but eventually there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff. So
Yo, send me the link to all your stuff so that we can put it on the description of the show. And thank you again, dog. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
word.
boys and girls, I want to give you guys thanks so much. And if you're driving right now, stop the fucking car and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out, guys. That was good.